We are just becoming comfortable with the present moment. An unusual state of consciousness for still the majority of the population on the planet. Becoming comfortable with the present moment. Sounds very simple and is very simple. But to the complicated and complicating mind, it's the most difficult thing. Because the mind immediately asks, how do I do that? It equates becoming comfortable with the present moment with some kind of doing. Not realizing that becoming comfortable with the present moment concerns being, which is prior to any doing and more vitally important. And you can't really reach being, not reach, become aware of being by any kind of doing. It's prior to any doing, the very foundation. Well, that's a relief. We don't need to do anything. We can just be. Now, to the mind, that's almost meaningless. Or it will immediately ask, what do you mean, just be? If I just be, I'll never do anything again. Of course, that's not the case. Becoming comfortable with the present moment is becoming comfortable with who you are right now, the essence of who you are, not some thought structure that tells you who you are, but something more vital. The aliveness of who you are, that which underlies any thought structure or any thought movement, that is already there. We can use different pointers to point to that, but it has to be a realization in you now, not a conceptual thing, not based on conceptual understanding, a deeper realization of your very presence here. That is prior to thoughts that arise out of that. So we need to be very careful with words. I say, can you sense the presence that you are? One could say, as a little pointer. And the answer to that then requires no thinking. You can't say, oh, let me think whether I can sense the presence that I am. Let me think about that. No, can't. Of course you can't. Through thinking, no. It's only for a moment. Thinking must come to a stop. There's a cessation in the stream of thinking. For example, now. In that cessation of the stream of thinking, don't worry, you're going to think again after that. You're not going to abdicate all that your critical abilities and all the accumulated knowledge. It's all going to still be there. Okay, so that's okay then. You don't have to worry about that. But in that moment of cessation of thinking, what is left? Like now, I do this because by moving my hands in this way, I'm opening up that space, so to speak, symbolically, or maybe even energetically, who knows. Opening up that space where there's a moment of cessation of thinking and just being, presence, awareness, without content. And you are still yourself. You have not lost your identity, although you don't remember in that moment, you don't remember your past, or not even your phone number, not even your name or your address. You don't remember it in that moment. You don't need to know who you are. You don't need to remember what happened to you when you were a little child, or what happened to you in your last marriage, to tell you who you are. So there's an essence of identity here that is not based on past or anything that happened to you in the past, any story in your mind, because the memory, your past consists of stories in the mind and perhaps some emotional reactions to the stories in the mind. And yet that's not where does the sense of the preciousness of who you are, that the thing that nobody wants to lose, there's a deep, some kind of deep realization that there's something precious that I am, and that's people think I'm going to lose that, I'm going to lose my life. But of course you can't lose your life because you are life. It's only because the mind has created a duality between life and me that you think you can lose your life. Here's me and I have a life. No. Because without life, who is there? There can't be anybody without life. You are life. It's a mind-created duality that creates a lot of fear and misperception. I am life. So can you sense the life that you are prior to anything that form, any thought movement prior to that, of the life? I am, that's the mystical I am. Beingness, presence, awareness, consciousness, these are just pointers to it. And it's joyful to know yourself as that, rather than the problematic personality that, of course, we also all still carry around with us. Everybody carries around a problematic personality and life situation. But that is not the essence of who you are. If that obscures the essence of who you are, then you're lost in the world, in your mind, which is the world, because you only know the world through the mind. So it's quite liberating. You are not that which you carry around with you in your mind, or even in your emotional field. Prior to that, there's something more vital. I am, presence. The light of consciousness itself, which is ultimately divine, although I try to avoid too much of that terminology, but it is. So here we are here to realize that right now. So simple. We don't need to do anything to be who we are. Let's put it into the first person. I don't need to do anything to be who I am. So there is already a fullness there. And you don't need to even be deserving to be who you are, or do this or that. There is already the fullness of being there, here, there. And the rest is the play of form, playing around with creating forms, moving about the world, enjoying it.